like, I can't price that at $9.99.
But you still you don't get what it's worth because of the way that they cut you down on the royalty.
True. But I'm like,
Oh, I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
and I'm like categorizing that was a nightmare because I've got post-apocalyptic short stories. I've got young adult short stories. I've got, Silent Night in there. I have Wolf Moon in there.
Yeah,
Messiah. I have Messiah in there, so it's sci-fi.
I wouldn't even know how to categorize all that. Hey, Nita.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's basically a sampler. Some of it was, some pretty, Messiah was a full length book.
On those, like, okay. Can you? I know there was some categories like short reads under 30 minutes, short reads under 90 minutes. Can you categorize?
No, you can't. You can't tag those. They have to tag those.
Ah.
They will tag them if your read is shorter. So those are not available anymore.
Because I mean, that would be a reliable category to put them under.
Yeah, but it's not really that because the whole book is, you've got as I said, all of those in the one book because it's a pretty cover. Hello.
Oh, we got Anita's doing the category. That's what I'll be doing after I get off the show tonight. Is I got to finish categorizing because when did this come out? Because I just saw it.
We were notified in some of the groups. I think it was last weekend.
Okay, so this is still new. I'm not that far behind.
It's very new. It could have even been Friday.
Okay.
Maybe it was June 1st, which was Thursday. Sorry. Because I'm like, what day is it? What day is it? It could have been a rollout.
Mashups. Is that a category you can use?
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. But yeah, it's I've done all 83 of my books.
Oh my God.
My titles. 83 titles, and each title at least has a paperback.
Oh my God.
Yes, I think 4 of them or 5 of them do not. So, and then a bunch of them have hardcovers as well. So I've been in
busy
categorization hell since I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday that I decided to take this on. Because I'm like, oh my God, do I really have to do this? And the thing is, you really don't. That's the key. Which somebody said you don't, they'll keep the category or the top 3 categories you have now. So you don't really have to do this. However, there are many more subcategories available to us now. So, before you were sort of limited in what you could categorize things. Hello. So, now anything you can search on, on that menu, that Kindle menu, is a category in there.
Okay.
You just have to find it. Which is a challenge in itself. Fairy tales was easy on ebooks, but it sucked on paperbacks. Because on paperbacks it wasn't in the same place. It was under literature and fiction, and then there's a mythology and folklore there, and that's where fairy tales are.
So you really got to go hunting for it.
Yeah, and in the paperback side, in the ebook side, it was under the romance, one of the romance subcategories, which was great because that's where I wanted it, or fantasy subcategories. I forget which one. I don't know. I was going in and out of everything trying to find it. and you can't combine young adult and adult categories if you choose young adult. You can't combine them. Period.
That's going to be interesting. Oh, yeah. Anita says Publisher Rocket helps. Oh, good. I have Publisher Rocket. I will be using that.
Yes. Yeah.
Second slate. That's it, Regine. You can't be here. You're late. We haven't even done the intro yet. You're good.
That's okay. Speaking of that, go ahead.
Speaking
Go
of
ahead.
that, welcome to another episode of Spilling Ink. It's been a couple of weeks.
Yes,
As
it
you know,
has.
we are the show that takes you behind the book to meet the authors and professionals in the publishing industry. And if you can't tell, we're talking categories today since Amazon's just rolled that out. And Jane's already experimented in category hell. I will be doing it later. Sounds like so much fun, Jane.
Yes, yes. Well, on a side note, I have a working fridge for everybody who's been out here. 6 weeks, yay!
Finally.
So, I can put ice cream in there now. Yay!
Is it a fantasy or romance? Same difference.
Yeah, well, there's romantic fantasy too. Under the fantasy category, there's romantic. So
But what if my fairy tale isn't romantic?
What if my fairy tale is horror? Zombies, right?
Did they count for this? Probably not.
Well, I chose a lot of dark fantasy. Was probably my most used top category across all. You know what I wrote? That's probably more
is
tailored.
Grimdark, because I know that's a popular category. Is that an actual category? Oh, finding categories for poetry books. I'm sorry, Anita.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know if there is a grim category.
Because I know Grimdark is a serious category that's quite popular.
Yeah, I didn't see Grimdark. I just saw, under.
We didn't miss the sarcasm. Yes. We're playing off of it.
Yes, exactly. I'm a little tired today too. Yeah, it's so, and I decided to play a little bit with D2D printing too. Print books there. I'm like, let's see what I can do there. So I played with that a little bit today because it was awful outside. It was cold and it was intermittent raining here. So it's like, what do I do today? And I didn't want to write.
What?
Yeah, I didn't want to write today.
Oh.
I've
I'm always playing.
Yeah, confuzzled. Yes, I'm confuzzled.
Confuzzled, that's a good word.
That's a
word
very
of the day.
Good word. Yeah. What's dark? All my stuff?
Category?
All my stuff? Yes.
Well, Grimdark should be a specific category, but I guess dark, but what does that encompass?
I know. Well, that's where the subcategory, the second and the third category come in, and it, refines down.
They do give you 3, whereas they used to give you 2. So that's kind of nice.
Yep.
And if it helps with visibility, that would be awesome.
Yep.
And of course, my second question to that would be, does it stop the incorrect category use that a lot of people use to put their books places where they might get better visibility but don't really belong?
Amazon has the right to change your categories, they said. That's it's in the small print too. That if they feel it fits a better category. So I don't know if that's going to come splashing back. But the other sticky question with this is the does your book contain adult content?
Oh yeah,
that's
that immediately marks you.
I think it does if you're in the romance category.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know if it does if you're in the other categories like thriller and and horror and things like that. So that makes it a little bit more difficult, I think. If you're saying adult category and you're a romance,
then they immediately think, oh, erotica.
That usually leads to think, some explicit scenes that shouldn't be in, for a minor. And I do have a lot of that. But I also have, violence, and I also have, the F-bomb, like left and right. So,
as we've talked about before, you can kill as many things as you want to, but sex.
Yes, exactly. So I'm like, is my book general audience? A lot of my books, I don't think so. I think it's I would rather have an 18 or above reading it, because
I follow the Rebecca Jonesy method. Just say no unless it's like really explicit, because I don't want to limit myself or have Amazon think to limit me for whatever reason.
Right. So, I'm like, my first series, the game series, it's funny.
That's a gray area.
Yeah, it's a very gray area because it has torture in there, and it has really bloody scenes.
But
and really
violence
horrific.
seems to be okay. It's does it have sex in it?
Yes, it does. It does have that as well. Both consensual and not consensual. So, but as somebody who read it last summer said, it wasn't that explicit.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm thinking it is, but have you read my fairy tales?
There you go. Yeah, because the original fairy tales too are pretty dang dark.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like, okay, how do you? I think, would I want my niece or my granddaughter or my grandson to read this? Yeah, Ashes. Yes, we all fall down. So that's sort of the thing in the back of my mind when I'm choosing. A lot of them were no. But I had 18 and above for the minimum age.
Okay.
For my young adult, a lot of them I did 16 and above, with the exception of the Death Chronicles. That was 13 and above because that was, almost middle grade for the first book, and it sort of goes up a little bit, because that's what Billy and I wrote. Whoops, sorry. But
Yeah, that's going to be fun to go through and categorize and select stuff. I don't think I have anything that really, really... Well, I am republishing the Rosalind Sparks books, so those will definitely be adult.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think about it. And when I think it was 15, maybe younger, I read Lawrence Sanders' The Third Deadly Sin. That was pretty gruesome. If you haven't read that, have you?
Which one?
The Third Deadly Sin.
No.
The first Deadly Sin was weird, but that one was with an ice pick. This one was a woman basically gone nutty, and she'd cut her victims up.
Fun stories.
Yeah, she'd Lorena Bobbitt them.
To Rebecca's comment, what I want to name my kiddos to read, that's going to be so individual to each author, because everybody's level of what they think is okay is going to be different.
I mean, I didn't even want my mom. Well, I didn't want my mom to read survival games. My dad was fine, but my mom, no, she's just too prim and proper.
Yes, there's some adults we don't even want reading our stuff. It's just fine.
Yeah. And Darren read a little bit of that, but outside of that, he's read most of my other stuff, except for some of the later stuff. He's been sort of, if he's read it, he hasn't mentioned anything to me. It's like, I just sent him the Witch Assassin, which is coming out in October. So I'm hoping he'll give me feedback. Yeah, there he is.
Oh, good butt shot. There we go.
Yes, good butt shot.
And Rebecca read the Iliad and the Odyssey in elementary school. Yeah, don't we all? I don't know if they do still, but I do remember that was required reading.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I try to think of all. Well, the first Deadly Sin and the third Deadly Sin were on the shelves of my father, so I was reading all of those books, and
and I was reading Anne Rice. at a young age. That was one of my first.
Yes.
I wasn't reading her Sleeping Beauty series at that
Right.
age.
Well, I don't think it was even written at that age. It wasn't written until recently, wasn't it?
Oh no, those were old. Her
Really?
Sleeping Beauty series is really old.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh yeah, it's
that.
old. I remember the first time I read that one, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Not
what I was expecting. Damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was reading the Interview with the Vampire. That whole Vampire Chronicles series was my absolute favorite, and I want to say I was middle school to high school when I started reading those.
Yeah, I've got to think about the thing. I think in grade school and middle school, I was reading all the, Call of the Wild and animal centric books, All Horses Go to Heaven and stuff like that.
I still read To Kill a Mockingbird in school.
Yeah.
Allie has that one on, or I had to buy that one for Allie when she was in, I don't know, was it middle school or high school? Because they were going over that one.
Yeah, but Rebecca, you've read my stuff. Yeah. Of course, you've read the first version of the stuff, which may not be the final version, which may not be the final version, which usually is a little bit more violent or whatnot. But yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be individual on that. But the question is so broad when you categorize it. It's like, I don't want to select, yes, that there's adult material in anything because I don't want Amazon to, pre-censor me if I'm being prudish on something.
I could see that.
Because I want as wide of an audience as possible. But that also brings us back to, our discussion before when we had Jay on with us about warning labels.
Right.
Are those worthy to have on there so that you can give somebody a heads up before they read your book? Hey, just so you know, this has this and this in it. Enjoy.
Yeah, I do have some warnings on the older books. I mean, of course, the Steve Williams series all deals with serial killers, so there's violence.
Yeah, comes with the territory.
Right. But the rewrites that I did to shorten them to fit into one book.
You made it darker, didn't you? Because you took out some perspective that
I took out some perspective. I also took out some of the killer's perspectives.
That makes it more mysterious.
Which makes it more mysterious, and in some of those, the killer's perspective was pretty gruesome and
inside the mind of a killer can be quite dark.
Yeah, exactly. So I took out some of that. So it made it more fast paced.
Okay.
And when I read through it again, after doing that, I'm like, it didn't lose anything. If anything, the reader's like, what's happening? Now they don't see what's happening from the killer's point of view. Now they're like, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening?
I like that. I like when it works like that.
Yeah. So it made it a little bit more, oh my God, I need to know. I need to know. Which
is exactly what we want. Keep flipping those pages.
Exactly. Yes. So what did you mean as a child? Hold on.
Oh, I think she's talking about the books we read as a child, because she's got Shakespeare, kid friendly, The Color Purple, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
The Iliad and the Odyssey. Yeah, those are all standard or were standard reading. Some of them I believe still are, but not all of them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember much before, I think, middle school. I don't really remember much before middle school as far as what I read. But I certainly was, big on, the, wolf books and, and things like that. I was obsessed with wolves. So it was before paranormal
thing
came
to be obsessed with.
Yes. I had a beautiful gray wolf poster behind my bed. It was awesome. So Yeah.
Yeah, it really, it's going to depend on each person, because what we consider too much might be nothing for somebody else, and what we consider nothing could be too much for someone else. So
Right, exactly.
categorize at your own risk, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, I read those.
Yep.
I mean, I read Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys.
Yep. Yep. All classics from our childhood.
Yep. Yep. So, I mean, hell, we watched Tom and Jerry and the Roadrunner.
I love those.
Yes, exactly.
Our first exposure to classical music was Elmer Fudd. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. That's where we learned our classical music.
No, I haven't been writing. I've been doing editing.
Okay.
So I've got, and I have Ancient Goddess up for beta reading. So anybody who's in my group or wants to be in my Facebook group can see the beta read thing and sign up.
I saw how is the using Story Origin for your beta reading going?
I mean, I got really, really good feedback for the Witch Assassin. I got excellent feedback for that. It also meant that I added like 5,000 more words to the manuscript, to answer some of the things. And I went through it and I'm like, yeah, she's right. I got to do this, so, and I had some really good hard beta readers for that.
Okay.
They were picky, which is great. You want picky beta readers. You don't want the, I love your work. I love your work. It's like,
I mean, a little of that's okay, but
it is, but it's like, okay, there's no holes. You sure there's nothing that you want that you're questioning and maybe want a little bit more with, or, that I can point and say, okay, yes, I answered that later, or or stuff like that. But I had some really good observations. So I liked it. And when I did the beta reading, I liked it with the exception of the fact that I was reading on my phone, and maybe it's just a phone thing. If I was doing it on my computer, I'm not sure if I'd have the same issue. But if I got out of it and went back into it, it didn't stop me in the chapter where I was. I'd have to go find it. Yeah. So
Anita, are you using the same beta reading system through Story Origin? Because I like the way that's set up, and
I do too.
Organize and helps you, stay on top of things and who's reading what and
the
progress.
And they have to read through and comment before they can see the next chapter.
I love that,
which I love
accountability.
It. Yes, I love it from their point of view, and I liked it from mine because, I have questions for each one. Do you connect to the characters or anything missing? Things like that. Yeah, she uses Story Origin. I just, I just have to get better beta readers, I guess, for continuous. The one that gave me the best stuff, we did a beta swap.
Okay.
So maybe that's what is the best type of thing, instead of, hitting your reader group and saying, hey.
It reminds me of, I started with Critique Circle way back in the day. And that was kind of how that system worked too, is you got points for critiquing other people's work. And if you wanted your work critiqued, you had to have so many points. So therefore it was kind of a system that, you had to do the work in order to get the work done for you. And you might not always get the same people, but a lot of times you critiquing them would incentivize them to critique you and so on. And that's good, because then you do get varied opinions that you might not get otherwise. So, like fans who are reading will be those beta readers who might be like, I love it. It's wonderful. You don't need to change anything. It's like, no, really, I do need to know where the holes are. Please tell me,
Yes, exactly. So I got lucky with the two that read for the first book. I didn't go back out to those specific two. Oh, off Discord groups. I haven't been on Discord in months. I'll have to.
New areas to check out.
Yes, I'm like, oh, do tell. Because there are some beta groups that I've joined on Facebook, ARC and beta groups.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one group, one of the authors that I did the switch was from there. And then one of my normal ARC readers did a beta of that story and had some really good feedback as well.
Oh, good.
So, yes. Thank you, Vanda.
That was the one question I had, I think, initially when you mentioned Story Origin is, I know their pool of people is not as big as other groups, and sometimes that can be detrimental if you don't have a big enough pool to draw from.
Right. Well, I don't know if I've actually gone out and asked for beta readers from my group and from different places. I don't know if I can make the beta reads public. Can I? I
don't know. I've never played with it.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Maybe Anita knows. Because I know you can for reviews. You can make it public and whatever. I hadn't even thought of that avenue.
Yeah, because if you can advertise to outside, hey, join my beta read for whatever,
right?
Maybe you pull in more of those people.
Right, exactly. So I haven't looked at at any of the ways to do that. So that we'll have to ask Anita what Discord groups.
Right. Share, like, if you got some good advice, definitely share it. If you're not watching while we're doing it live, post it in the comments. We do read those.
Right, exactly. So, I had a great experience this one. I'm hoping to get some more hard hitters. I have time. I don't think I have until mid-August on that, but I need feedback by the end of July. I said June because I know I'm going to be gone.
I look at the calendar and it's like you're gone almost an entire month.
Yes.
Busy lady.
Yep, that's the 15-day land and sea.
Sometimes, Rebecca, sometimes.
Anita doesn't know if you can make them public.
But Evan might have a tutorial somewhere. Yeah, he's usually pretty good about the tutorials.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah.
Fantasy book Twitter on Discord is a good group. Okay.
All
right, we'll have to check that out.
Okay. Cool. Yes. I haven't been out to Discord in a long time.
Confession. I belong to so many Discords. I don't know how to use any of it.
I'm like,
I log in and there's all kinds of shit on the side. I'm like, I don't know what to click.
I know. Yeah. It's like in my day job, we have Teams, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have Slack now. I hate Slack. It doesn't automatically come up on your computer when you log in, so I don't ever open it. And somebody said, "I sent you something in Slack." I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't log on." So,
bye Joe.
So yes,
collect and lurk in Discord groups.
Yes.
I'm going to claim that instead of I don't know what I'm doing. Because I swear I belong in so many Discords.
I think initially the reason why I went out to Discord was because some of the cover artists went out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I don't know. It's been forever.
I know one of the AI art, like one of the very popular ones is on Discord, and I joined that just so I could see the different art being created. But again, I never did anything more than just kind of click around and look at stuff. So
Anita, we cannot with ours because we have single sign-on through some Octa chiclet shit.
Oh,
sorry. I would love it to have it that way, but they said no, we have to go through single sign-on, so you have to do it. I'm like, oh my God. You gave us this tool that's wonderful, and now you're telling us we have to use this shitty tool.
Right?
We're all
Here's
just
something great. Let's make it complicated.
Yes. Teams works beautifully. I can even copy messages that are, you know, in the meetings, but you can't do that on Zoom, which goes with Slack. Yeah. So anyway, enough about the annoying day job. Let's talk about writing, which makes me happy.
So going back to categories, so you got to recategorize every version of the book that's out there, but you do get 3 instead of 2.
Yep.
So since you've done it, have you seen any extra visibility on any of your titles?
I actually have one title that never came up before because it was in the dungeon.
Oh.
Now is visible when you Google when you type in J.E. Taylor.
Okay.
Because before it never came up. And I was like, "Ooh, look at that. It's up."
So that's a positive.
Yes, that's a very positive.
Okay.
Even though one of the categories is erotic horror.
Ugh.
That's okay. That's a third category. That's not the first category. So,
Okay.
you know, maybe that's why. Yeah. So.
But it's more visible. So that's a start, because that's always been the problem too, is the books that disappear off into the dungeon for whatever reason. It seemed like there was no way to ever get them back out.
Right. Even if you search, if you used to search for survival games, which is the book that had issues, it took a while to find it before. Now I see it. I'm like, oh, good. You know, and the series has 4 books in it, not 3.
So maybe this will help stop Amazon from hiding stuff. I've noticed Amazon's search lately has been really bad too.
It's been
just
wonky.
In general.
Yes, it's very
like you
wonky.
Search for something very specific and it pulls up lots of other associated things, but not even the thing you asked for.
Right. Is it lots of sponsored things? Yeah. So maybe, maybe I have to go back and tweak my ads, because my ads were in some cases category specific. Oh shit.
You just made more work for yourself.
430 ads.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. That's too
I'm
much.
gonna go drinking.
Pass the tequila. It's drinks with authors time.
Yeah, I didn't even that just connected. That just clicked.
Damn. That's a lot of work though.
And perhaps that's possibly why I've seen some stagnation in sales as well, especially if I'm, you know, flagging the wrong category.
Yeah.
But who knows? I'll have to go in and play with those as well.
But if you do like retool it and you do see that the visibility is working and the ads are picking it up a little more, then the sales hopefully will follow, and it'll become a more self-fulfilling system instead of a constant struggle to figure out what to do, what works, what doesn't.
Right. Exactly.
I was talking with another author this last weekend at Comicon, and they were saying the same thing about the ads. It's like driving them crazy trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. And when something works one day and doesn't work the next, it's like, why does it have to be this complicated?
Well, I noticed on Facebook ads, I used to just have, you know, the blurb and stuff, and that was it. I started to do excerpts in those ads.
Oh.
When I started doing that, I saw a pickup. I mean, this month things have been weird. It really has been in June. But when I did that, I started getting more clicks and more click-throughs.
Interesting.
So I was like, yeah. I'm
Speaking
seeing more.
Of weird,
yes.
I know I mentioned this pre-show, but even at Comic-Con, the books that sold for me were weird. It wasn't what I expected to sell. Like normally
at a Comicon. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. We're at a sci-fi fantasy show, right? So I bring the Little Werewolf series, which generally sells really well. I bring the Agents of Asset series, which generally sells really well. This year, I brought back the Immortalis series, which is a little more on the romancy side, but it's still, you know, it's fantasy. vampire fantasy. I brought the adult werewolf trio, which is their more traditional romance style books. And then I brought our co-written series. I didn't get to bring the Chronicles with me because I didn't finish the recover in time. So I had those with me. Typically, it's the Little Werewolf and the Asset series that go without really having to do much pushing at all.
Yep.
People were walking up, zeroing in on the romances. Those sold without even having to try. And only then when those sold were people willing to look elsewhere. I don't think I sold one copy of, in the actual cover, because I did have the bargain bin with the old cover, the Little Werewolf. I don't think I sold a single copy of the Little Werewolf series at all that weekend. Now, in the bargain bin, because I have the old covers at like Kindle prices, basically, people would pick up and get those. And again, those were more of the romance styled cover. It was blowing my mind that things that typically people are like, oh yeah, nope. They didn't want anything to do with it. They wanted the romances. It was crazy. Fantasy romance is big right now. And I was saying that all weekend. I'm like, I think people just really need a little love in their lives right now. I think whatever's going on, we're all feeling it. And that's why everyone's zeroing in on the love, because I didn't have to try with those. They just sold. And then only after they were off the table were people looking at other stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And you said dragon books were.
Well, dragons always sell.
Yes,
and that's what draws people to our booth. Jenna has her dragon books, but her banners are unbranded. They're just really cool looking dragons. And they're like 7 feet tall. So when she puts them up, we flank our booth with them. People see the dragons from far away, and that's what they come towards.
Yep. They're like, ooh, dragons. Yes. Yep. Okay.
Yep. I got my wolf on the side, which some people react to, but it's mostly her dragons. And then once we get them there, we have fantasy of all flavors, because we're the League of Fantasy Authors. So whichever authors join us for, that convention, it's whatever books they bring. So we had Michael with us. He had some fantasy, some romance, mostly sci-fi on his side. I had, my variety. And then Jenna had her 2 different series. One is more, the dragons everyone wants, and then the more romantic side. She wasn't even selling the more romantic side, though, which is funny. With her, it was her dragon series that was going to match the banners. But for me, I couldn't. It was just really weirding me out that the books that normally sell weren't selling.
That is.
This is not right. Something's wrong here. Who broke the matrix? I still had a good time, though. I mean, we've gone so many years that there are people who know us. They've bought books in the previous years. So it's like they come up, we catch up. If there's a new book, they grab it. But there's a lot of just, catching up with old friends kind of a vibe. So it was fun, but it was just, why are these books selling and not the others? I just don't get it. Somebody broke the matrix, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it feels the whole month of June has felt.
Since March, it has been.
Yes,
weird.
May and June was our challenging, with everything, and just, broken people. We are broken. The couch was delayed. The fridge was broken. The roof needed repaired. And there was one other thing. I can't remember the other one, but yeah, we're just down to the roof.
So, fingers crossed we get that taken care of. No more problems.
Yes. And then we're like, until the next thing.
No, don't say it. Don't say it.
Well, Murphy's Law is always in effect. Come on.
I know.
We've had health issues, and between the 2 of us, and my father-in-law got a tick, and he got he's been on like 3 different antibiotics, and they finally got it control. But he's 87.
Can't win lately.
Yeah. So it's just like.
Anybody else out there watching? Have you guys had just everything is Murphy's Law since at least March? March.
It's well, when you told us we were in, we're in the eclipse. Darren goes, "Are we out of the eclipse yet?" It looks like we're out of the eclipse yet.
Yeah, well, get ready because we got a Venus retrograde starting soon. Like, God damn it! Stop it!
Yeah.
Stop it with the astrology. I don't even want to look anymore. There's so much crap going on.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
what does Venus retrograde mean again?
So Venus is our values.
Okay. Oh, so my values go to hell in a handbasket.
It's a revision. It shows you what needs to be revised. You are fucking shit up.
Okay.
Venus just entered Leo, which is where it's going to retrograde. So Venus is not leaving Leo until September.
Okay.
So it's going to go all the way through, and then it's going to go all the way back, and then it's going to go all the way through, because that's what the retrograde cycle looks like. And yeah, it's a revision of our value system, and whatever house Leo is in for you, your values regarding that house. So for me, Leo is my 10th house. Career. Yay!
Yeah.
Hell.
Okay.
For you, I want to say Leo's your first house, so it's a very personal revision. And if I remember, you and Darren are on opposites, so for him it might be his relationship house. So, and when I say relationships, not always marriage, it's the relationships you have with others, business dealings, contracts, and what have you. So yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah. Yes, I see see many challenges coming in the short term for various reasons that we won't. But yeah.
Oh, good. Regine's having good stuff. Yay for him.
Good.
I like hearing happy news right now.
Yes. What Redbubble?
What are we arguing with Amazon for?
What's a Redbubble thing?
Redbubble's where she posts all of her designs.
Oh.
Yeah. She's got some awesome designs.
Okay.
So what's going on with you, Anita? What are your troubles with Amazon? There's always something with Amazon.
Yes. Yeah. I'm waiting to hear on one of my books, because I had to send so I did all those 80, like 160, whatever the number was, unfathomable.
Yeah.
And I had 2 issues. One's a copyright issue that I stupidly copied and pasted from the copyright page into the Amazon email instead of taking screenshots. And they said, "Please send us the document." So I took screenshots. I said, "This is what I sent you." And that showed the Copyright Office stuff. Even though the text had it, it's just they weren't reading it.
Yeah.
And my main name and my Amazon name are both on that. So I mean, my married name and my Amazon name are both on my pseudonym. So it's not like I had like a third pseudonym that I was trying to do. And I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I have to, cut and paste pictures. I'm like, okay, I'll do that.
Always gotta make it difficult.
Yep. And I'm like, they didn't come back on the cover. So hopefully they're not, if they come back and say need the copyright for the cover, I'll have to go back to Cora. And she keeps pretty good records. So that's good. Yeah, because I got the typeset, the font later on, because when she did it, it was on one of the free sites, and it was okay to use at that time. But the font person decided, I think maybe it was a sale or a bonus time when he was new.
Oh, yeah. So now you got to show that you've got license to use it.
Well, yeah, I had to buy that, and I think that was $75 for that one font. Because he's like, well, yeah, and Cora's like, I am so sorry, because she's normally very, very good, and at the time it was through a bundle.
Nope, I get that.
Yep. So I do have the font.
Yeah, you can show proof. All good.
But everything else, I'd have to go for her for the pictures and stuff. So, but yeah, Well, I'm kind of glad Amazon is doing that. It's a pain, but I'd rather have to prove copyright than have all the AI stuff go up there.
Oh, yeah, well, that's another issue.
Yeah.
Moving from Redbubble to Zazzle. Oh. Uh-oh, Redbubble's got a new fee system. I better look at that. Not that I put much on Redbubble anyways.
Yeah.
Republished a paperback to Amazon, and they thought Draft to Digital was the publisher. Oh, good Lord. Yep. Sometimes I think they do that, though. Like, they pick and choose. I don't think they're going through everything. And so you just happen to trigger it, Murphy's Law style.
Yeah.
You trigger it, and then they come down on you.
I thought I would get more because I was doing this in such a, short window. I mean, I was going through them all.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some that I republished the book, the content, because I went through like the Steve Williams series.
Okay.
Because we know I edited it to get it into the thing.
Yep.
And I'm like,
yep.
I'm like, okay, since I have to do this, why don't I get those updated?
Mm-hmm.
So I did that.
Well, at least you didn't get that many then, because you probably could have triggered quite a few of those.
Right. So now, in order to get the original, you have to buy the paperback, because I didn't go back and update all the paperbacks. So if you want to see the pre-edited version, buy the paperback.
There you go.
So, yeah.
So much fun.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, okay, let's try this. Let's try that. Let's try this. All the different, because I publish paperbacks on Amazon and Barnes & Noble directly. I'm like, I don't know where where does D2D publish?
Pretty much everywhere.
And you don't get to choose, do you?
You do get to choose.
Is that what's in the...
Yeah, you select where you want it to go.
For paperback, and I know for ebook distribution.
Yeah, they do have selection, so you can pick and choose some of the distribution channels.
Okay, because I wouldn't want it to go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, because it already goes. So I'll have to look at that, because
But their sizes are slightly different on Draft to Digital too, which I did not like.
6x9.
So, you should be safe on 6x9.
They still have the 6x9.
Oh, she says not with paperback. I thought they did allow with paperbacks. So it's just a blanket on that one. I thought it was, you still had the option. All right.
Okay. Well, I have 2 paperbacks that are coming out through there that aren't anywhere else. Shades of Night and Season of the Dragon. So I'm like, okay, let's try this. Let's play. Oops.
Well, as long as it's got the ISBN, it doesn't matter, because the ISBN is the identifier.
Yeah, but I don't have my own ISBNs.
Oh, then never mind. That makes the difference.
Right. So, well, yeah, because I don't have those in paperback. Those 2 in paperback anywhere.
Okay.
The sets, because it's hardcover and ebook for the sets.
Yeah.
On Amazon.
Then you have to go through wherever you publish them. If you use the free ISBN, you're stuck with that publisher.
Yeah.
Or that printer.
So I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll do that over here. Because I'm like, I don't have those in paperback on Amazon.
Now, speaking of printers and distributors, that Ingram now has free creation. They no longer charge the initial, I think it's $25 or $49 if you do the ebook and print together, or whatever it is. Yeah. That's a big deal.
Yes.
Because that kind of levels the playing field a little bit, because Ingram's always been a little bit better with the overall quality.
Okay.
When it comes to printing stuff. I wish I had my books in front of me, because I didn't have time to look them over when I went to the convention. I just pulled them out and put them on the table. Yep. There is a massive color difference on my Write and Edit the Damn Book. That was all just printed in one order from Amazon. Massive color
Oh
difference.
my gosh.
And I didn't have time to do anything with it, so I just put them out on the table.
Yep.
So I might be going back to Ingram for a lot of those paperbacks, because as long as it's free setup and you can make changes to it within either 30 to 90 days, I will have to double check on the numbers.
Yeah.
And there won't be any charges. After that, there is a corrections charge of, I think, $25.
No charging for revisions up to 90 days.
90 days.
For new
Thank
books.
you, Anita. Thank you. I knew it was something like that.
And draft to digital. What is it? Every 90 days, you can change it once for free. Yeah. And then there's a charge.
See, and that levels the playing field, because that was the big barrier that made Amazon the likely choice for most people, is that free setup. And Ingram generally has overall better quality control. Not always. I've had issues with them too. But generally, you seem to get a more consistent product.
Okay.
More expensive for author copies, though. I'd have to look at the numbers again, because everybody just changed their pricing. Amazon just changed their pricing. So I'd have to look at a side-by-side comparison. Originally, though, they were cheaper. I used to have like a whole layout of all the different stuff. So Ingram Spark used to be actually cheaper. Now that they have made some changes, and Amazon has also made some changes, I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers in a while.
Yeah, I haven't looked at them either.
And also, Amazon puts the fucking proof thing across the freaking cover. You can't sell that copy afterwards. So, whatever cost you have for that author copy, you're out.
You can sign it and give it away as a gift, though.
Yeah, well,
I did that.
For me, if I want to recoup some of my costs, I will sell that copy if it's a good copy.
Right.
There's nothing stopping me from recouping my costs on that, because it's still a cost.
Right.
But Amazon, the stupid sticker across the whole front and back, you just fucked me out of whatever, $10 after shipping, because you got to pay for shipping too.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, 2 lifetimes in the publishing world. Yeah. Rebecca, go through all the numbers now, because both Ingram and Amazon have changed their pricing and payout structures. So I don't even know the numbers right now. I got to go through them myself. Yeah, I got to update my Publish the Damn Book book. With all the new information, because there's been so many changes recently.
Right. Well, I that's the other thing I did, is I went through, because I had Amazon just do whatever they were going to do, because I didn't want to go through all my books. Well, I went through all my books, and I adjusted the prices back to, for the most part, back to what they were, or close to what they were, and consistent. So, paperbacks in this series are this cost, in this series are a little bit more. So yeah, I hate the proof banner. We all hate the proof banner.
Yeah, who okayed that decision? Like, who thought that was a good idea? Yeah. In Ingram Spark, you get a little page at the back that says proof. In fact, one of the Michael at our booth, he looked at it, he's like, I can't sell this, it's a proof. I'm like, come here, rip, there you go. Yeah. You can sell it now. That's the difference, is the one page that says proof. Yep. Like, seriously, that is fine. But the stupid stripe, yeah. Who thought that was a good decision? I know. And also, if you're proofing your book, legitimately proofing it, and you have a stripe going through the cover art, you can't actually tell if that spot is clean cover or not. Right. So you can't legitimately proof the book to see if there are any issues. What if there's a big splotch under that didn't show up? Right. Exactly. And you approved it, and now it's going to go into production like that. Yep. Exactly. Obviously, not really going to happen, but still, devil's advocate, it could, and you have not made it a valid proof. Yeah. I guess. Oh, Ingram Spark uses better glue. Now, the one thing I have noticed with Ingram Spark on the interior, and actually I had to change my favorite font choice because of this, they may use darker ink weights on the cover, but the interior, they use lighter ink weights. So if you have like a Garamond, that sometimes comes almost like it's so thin of a font that sometimes it's really light to read. And I used to love that as my favorite font. Now I go with more like Palantino because it's same style but slightly thicker font, and I've not had the same issue with Ingram Spark using that font as I used to when I was using the Garamond before. Amazon, on the other hand, flip it around. Lighter ink weights on the cover, darker ink weights interior. I've had my interior font come out like blindingly dark compared to the page. That's trial and error, just from publishing over the years that I've noticed. But I do tend to get a better overall quality using Ingram Spark. So them having the free setup now, big deal.
Yeah. Do they have a limit on page numbers?
They all have guidelines. So I'm going to say yes, there is probably an upper limit, but you'd have to check the individual guidelines for sure.
Okay.
But I do know there are different guidelines for different size books. So I'm sure there's going to be an upper limit on pages as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And that's really a physical thing. What can they physically put together without it falling apart on you?
Right. Yeah. But then you look at, like some of the tomes that you get from traditional publishers,
Yeah, but they're also
500 pages. Ooh, okay.
They're using different printers.
Right.
You go to a private printer, you can probably get things done differently, but that's going to cost you.
Yeah, it's going to cost.
Which is why you'll see a lot of authors doing the, not GoFundMe, what is it?
Yeah, Patreon.
No, not Patreon. It's the other one. Kickstarters.
So
that they can do those specialty printers for those really special editions that they put out, because that kind of printing does come with a heftier cost.
Yes. Yeah. I know. I know. Amazon is what, $850 for paperback?
Don't quote. I don't know.
I thought that was their D2D is $740. So
and it's all who they use.
Yeah, some of the collections that I was looking at trying to do won't do it, and I don't want to do 7.5 by 9.5. That's a weird size.
It is a weird size.
Because 6 by 9, 7 by 10. Because most of my hardcovers are 7 by 10.
Yeah.
And they fit everything. But of course, for the Garamond, some of it looks very small.
$7.99.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
800. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
So you definitely check the specs and check the prices now, because both have changed their pricing and their payout structure.
Yeah. Both of the books that I did today, when they came out, when the suggested price came up, I was like, holy shit. On D2D, it was much more than what Amazon had. So oof. I had to, pare it down a little bit. Who wants to pay $35 for a paperback? Yeah. Especially when the hardcover is $35, $34.99.
Yeah. It's a little hard to justify at that point.
Yeah. So I dropped it down to $29.99, but still, that was like, that's kind of. But it's 3 books in one and 4 books in another. So.
Yeah, what you're getting is worthwhile, but it's the sticker shock that gets people.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, I just put those 2 books out there just to see what happens with that avenue. But looking at the prices there, I'm like, I'm not going to go through the rest of my stuff and do all the 6 by 9 paperbacks. Not if they're coming up at $30 a pop.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Because even on Amazon now, I think everything is still $19.99 and below for paperbacks. Which is good. But it's, still.
Yeah, it's got to be reasonable. It's got to be something you'll actually earn something from to make it worthwhile. And
right, exactly, because there is a floor that you can't, if you want expanded distribution, you can't go under. So it's like,
would it be worth it just to have it sell strictly on Amazon then?
Possibly, because there is a big difference. You know, I think one of my books, I only have like a 30 cent on the
Wow.
expanded distribution because I'm like, I can't justify
Wow.
the price above. And most of the time I don't have it on expanded, but that one I did, it was one of the older ones, when we were with Create Space, so some of that stuff came over. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't charge more than this for this book.
It's a delicate balancing act to try and make it affordable, make it something that you actually earn something back on, and keep it out of the sticker shock range.
Yeah, and I want to give my audience a choice, the ebook, the paperback, some hardcovers, and I do have some hardcovers, not a ton, but they're the collections, and some of them are homes. The audiobooks, I'm still doing audiobooks, so I have 14 left in production right now.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yes. I'm doing a lot of listening too. So that's the other thing that I'm doing. So I'm editing, I'm listening, and I'm categorizing
It's a full-time job. It is a full-time job.
Yep. Yeah. On top of the full-time job that I have.
All right, well, we'll have to let you get back at it because we're at the hour. So.
Oh, I just saw that. Oh,
yeah.
Wow. I can go out to the fire if it's still going.
There you go. Have a margarita or something out there.
Yes.
And then get back to work.
I will at some point.
I say that because that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I got to go through and fix my categories and all that stuff tonight too.
It's once you get the hang of it, it's easy. Just remember, if you choose young adult, you
gotta stick with young adults.
Teen and young adult, you gotta stick with that underneath with all three, because I got dinged a couple times for that. So,
amen, Regine. Writing the words is the easy part. Selling the books sucks.
Yes. Buy our books. We love you.
That's how we go out. All right, everybody, buy our books. We'll see you next time.